Hiya, I'm your host Terry J. Aman, with the Oingo Boingo Open Mind Orsica Offspring Outcast OK Go Ozzy Orgy Oak Grove Olivia Newton John Orquestra de Soul Oleg Prodeus Our Lady Peace All of Our Last Night and Ozone. This episode of VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack is brought to you by the letter O. Hit it! VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack. Episode 19, Dead Man's Party. I love that I get to chat a bit with Denver ambient artist, good friend, and friend of the pod, Drew Brady, and his EP release, Orsica, is coming up in Breakouts around the 40-minute mark here. But I'll start us off with the title track. 80s era band Oingo Boingo is probably best known for the theme song to Weird Science, and maybe most recently for Just Another Day being used in Stranger Things, which... wild. It's like the song is about this show, which premiered like 3 decades later. But since people can be influenced by songs, and that's how inspiration works, maybe not that weird. I've sworn that I'd never heard Oingo Boingo before, but I'd be so wrong. I know I heard the Weird Science theme song lots of times, way back when, and frontman Danny Elfman is one of the most influential crafters of iconic movie scores there is. He scored Batman, Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, Nightmare Before Christmas, To Die For, American Hustle, Wickpuddle says more than 100, Men in Black, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Sleepy Hollow. I've heard all kinds of his stuff, and I brought in Just Another Day because I heard it in Stranger Things, and it was brilliant, but I brought in the whole LP, and that's where I heard Dead Man's Party. All dressed up with nowhere to go, walking with a dead man over my shoulder. All dressed up with nowhere to go, walking with a dead man over my shoulder. Dead Man's Party was the title track for the... Oh, wow, I should have guessed. They'd been signed with IRS Records, the same one R.E.M. started out with, had LP releases in 1981, 1982, and 1983. Dead Man's Party was their 4th LP, and the first 4 signed with MCA Records, released in 1985. I was struck by lightning, walking down the street. I was hit by something last night in my sleep. It's a dead man's party, who could ask for more? Everybody's come and leave your body at the door. Leave your body and soul at the door. The music video for Dead Man's Party is frankly bizarre, featuring clips from the 1986 Rodney Dangerfield movie they appeared in called Back to School, stylized Dia de los Muertos stop-motion animation inspired by their album cover, and clips of the band. There's 2 things to highlight here. Danny Elfman's clear fascination with A Clockwork Orange. Honestly, some of those Malcolm McDowell-inspired face work, underlighting, and intensity. Fight me. Don't run away, it's only me. Don't be afraid of what you can't see. Don't run away, it's only me. Don't be afraid of what you can't see. And the choreography, which they spent at least some time on, and I'm picturing those rehearsals. But the original name of the band in the 1970s arose from surrealist music theater troupe The Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo, so they were bound to bring some of that energy to their stage presence, and a Rodney Dangerfield movie was going to inspire at least some small amount of excess. Got my best suit and my tie, shiny silver dollar on either eye. Hear the chauffeur coming to my door. Says there's room for maybe just one more. I was struck by lightning, walking down the street. I was hit by something last night in my sleep. It's a dead man's party, who could ask for more? Everybody's coming, leave your body at the door. Leave your body and soul at the door. Don't run away, it's only me. Don't be afraid of what you can't see. Don't run away, it's only me. Don't be afraid of what you can't see. I love this song. It's a great song from the 1980s. I feel I should have vibed with this song more. Someone who became a fan of Robert Smith, The Cure, there was some mention of my musical understanding of this song. Indeed, this LP would have fed. Then touch on it. Robert Smith was one of the inspirations for some original artwork I commissioned for this episode. I felt a dusty skeleton surrounded by family, friends, and staff. I thought I was your uncle. Struck the right chord, and I asked my artist friend Daryl James in Ohio to bring the gathering to life, so to speak. Along with that, Robert Smith on the stairs there, such invited guests as Marilyn Manson, Danny Elfman, and Lydia Dietz, Magenta helping us out with cleanup there. Oh, going up the stairs, we got me from the 90s, I got Liza Minnelli, Morticia, Patti Smith, and then a thing you can do with artwork. I'm also inviting you in as Riff Raff. Oh, good Lord, yes, my charming friend Kitty Litter from Dallas there. Enchanté. My initial idea was me in a suit inviting you in, also on VideoFuzzy's Instagram, and when I thought I'd include a few more guests, I imagined the setting and the whole thing spiraled well on my ability to present it properly myself. I was just happy my friend was available to help me out. It's a bit of a departure for him. You can check out his Instagram at SafetyCub. He's generally open for commissions if you have anything in mind. Link in my show notes. In fact, moving directly into influences here, that is artists with entire LPs in my collection. Influences. I want to talk about the appearance of Just Another Day in Stranger Things, which is how the LP came to be in my collection in the first place. I talked about this part of VideoFuzzy's 100th episode last year. My sister had recommended Stranger Things to me. I did enjoy it. It's got Winona Ryder with the cast, D&D, parental neglect, and self-consciously designed to trigger 1.1 gigawatts of Dayglow Aquanet destruction of the ozone levels of 80s nostalgia.
Max Syndrome.
And the second season premiere concluded a song that was basically about the show. Oingo Boingo, yep, we're still talking about them. The LP was Dead Man's Party. It came out in 1985, and just on the strength of Just Another Day, I purchased the LP. Just Another Day opens with There's Life Underground, which instantly reminds me of the Talking Heads' 1980 assertion from Once in a Lifetime. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down, letting the days go by, water flowing underground, into the blue again, after the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. There's life underground. Stranger Things could have grown out of that music video. Yep, 1985 there was a music video, the most exciting aspect of which employed a visually exciting parabolic marimba, but the whole stage was very claustrophobic. I think there's a dozen people in this band, they're all crammed onto a wheel of brie. Ooh, I feel it all around. I feel it in my bones. My life's on the line. When I'm away from home, when I step out the door, the jungle is alive. I do not trust my ears. I don't believe my eyes. I will not fall in love. I can't risk the bet, 'cause hearts are fragile toys, so easy to forget. That is a through line for this band. The drama. I mentioned the origin story for the troupe, Danny Elfman's presence and his intensity. Gotta say, I was surprised to finally see this band in performance. The keyboardist, maybe the drummer, were the only ones who looked the way I expected they would. Danny Elfman from his vocals. I was expecting Johnny Depp from Edward Scissorhands, but his actual presence put me in mind of the disconnect I felt when I first saw Rick Astley. Regardless of his physical presence, the music was the focus, and the music is fantastic. It's just another day. There's murder in the air. It drapes me when I walk. I smell it everywhere. It's just another day where people cling to light to drive away the fear that comes with every night. It's just another day when people wake from dreams, the voices in their ears that will not go away. Really, it's like Stranger Things was based on this song. Dreams, story elements, otherworldly decay and destruction. The placement of this song at the top of season 2 when all of this was still unfolding. I had a dream last night. The world was on fire, and everywhere I ran, there wasn't any water. The temperature increased. The sky was crimson red. The clouds turned to smoke, and everyone was dead. But there's a smile on my face for everyone. There's a golden coin that reflects the sun. There's a lonely place that's always cold. There's a place in the stars for when you get old. It's just another day, it's just another day, it's just another day. There's races in my bed that come out late at night, they always disappear before the morning light. I'm dreaming again of life underground. It doesn't ever move, it doesn't make a sound. And just when I think that things are in their place, the heavens are secure, the whole thing explodes in my face. I mean, I'm sorry, but having watched 4 seasons of this, I'll get to the last season, I'm sure, but yeah, it's like this show is based on this song? Likely the answer is no, but real talk, if I were to set out trying to write a song about the series, how even else would I do it? Song, show, boom. It's just another day, it's just another day, it's just another day, there's a smile on my face, it's just another day for everyone, it's just another day, there's a golden coin, it's just another day that reflects the sun, it's just another day, there's a lonely place, it's just another day that's always cold, it's just another day, there's a place in the stars, it's just another day for when you get old. There's a lot of cool music on this LP. It includes a weird science track, this sort of Fred Schneider type of vibe, and No One Lives Forever, and a Magritte style, Ceci n'est pas, and various items, and Stay, which is a cool song as songs go, and you pay attention to the lyrics, it gets a little every step you take in there. Mostly the opening line. This is not the first time you tried to get away. This is not a party where people know your name. This is not a classroom with teacher at the board. This is not a game show with prizes at the door. Go, don't you go. Won't you stay with me one more day? If we get through one more night, if we get through one more night. But he never really says what happens if they get through one more night, and his fair insistence that whoever he's talking to not leave. This is not the first time you've tried to get away. Yeah, maybe take the hint. Well, it's not a song I was paying much attention to until they did, and probably it doesn't hold up to a lot of scrutiny. The track Help Me seems related somehow. The temperature's rising, how a cool drink would help. I've been thirsty for years, I've been thirsty for years. I'm hungry for something, just a touch of your flesh, to soothe and refresh, to soothe and refresh. You gotta help to make me somebody. You gotta help to open my eyes. Yeah, it doesn't get better, does it? Tell you what, thank you, Oingo Boingo. Danny Elfman, that was quite an opening chapter to a stunning career. There's a track off the 1981 Only a Lad LP called Little Girls that's a bit on the nose, even as a villain's song, and probably no one should ever. And went on to score Pee-wee's Big Adventure, did you? Charming. That's moving on. I have 3 LPs, but really hoped I'd hear back from singer-songwriter Chantel Chamberlain. You may recall episode 4 of Fascination Street. I chatted about, here we go. During the early 90s, Cynthia Kerr and Chantel Chamberlain toured as Open Mind, and college student me stared in wide-eyed amazement as they crafted the world they needed to see in front of me. My memory is telling me that Kerr moved back to Australia, and Chamberlain continued touring, and I think it was a concert she was playing in Grand Forks. I bought an extended play CD of her original work with 4 tracks on it, and that's the self-titled breakout collection I have from her called Chantel. You said you could see forever when you looked at me, so why am I standing in the doorway watching you pack your things? Did she look at you the way that you once looked at me? Oh, what did I do to hurt you, baby? Oh, what can I say to make you stay? And how can I hold on to my heart now? You have taken it away. Have taken it away. Turning from indie coffee shop fare, Chamberlain has since blazed a trail through the Canadian jazz world, becoming a celebrated interpreter of jazz standards and cover artistry. You can get a taste for current production at her website, chantelc.com, and that link will be in my show notes. It was just so cool to see what artists are up to after they fall off your radar some. Yeah, and I had contact information from an active website, so I shared that clip as part of inviting her. Well, the first inquiry was returned as undeliverable Keldamage. Reaching out to her agent similarly got me no response. Well, I'm an indie podcaster digging around in my music collection. People are busy, and no is a complete sentence. Weeks later, I've continued to not hear anything one way or to others, so heading into this discussion of Open Mind, that was Chantel Chamberlain and Cynthia Kerr touring the upper Midwest. I had cassettes they were selling pulled into my iTunes and now Apple Music collection, 3 LPs worth of singer-songwriter indie duo Girl with a Guitar Funky Goodness. LPs The Stones We Carry live at La Luna and Suspect Terrain, which, cassettes sold out the back of their cars probably were recorded with rights protection, but I am not testing that theory with this episode. Instead, what I'm going to explore what I think were 3 primary concentrations for their work, which focused on social justice, bittersweet ballads, and dating shenanigans. Their social justice concentration was easy to identify. I first reached out to them when I was putting my senior thesis together back in 1993, I shared a photo on VideoFuzzy's Instagram. It was part of my inquiry since I did have a long ago connection with this group. I think the liner for the cassette had a phone number on it. I wanted to include lyrics for The Wall in my senior thesis since it had some resonance to the topic. And here's another of these wild coincidences. I was just talking about this in episode 109 of VideoFuzzy, not because I think my senior honors thesis is especially interesting. I mean, kind of, but because an episode of The Simpsons featured discussions of the value of microloans in boosting local economies and reached out Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus and the Grameen Bank in Bangladesh. My thesis contrasts the propriety of giant top-down, centrally planned investments in developing nations versus diffuse grassroots community building investments where small business owners need only very small amounts of seed capital to secure the means of production, which they can pay back at rates that match the way such small businesses earn money. Repayment of these loans is reported at around 98%, along with the repayment structures that align with how borrowers earn the means for repaying their loans in the first place. The repayment structure includes a sense of shared responsibility, like regional co-op, where everyone is kind of in each other's business. Anyway, seeing that discussion come up in the Simpsons episode was one thing, but then so hard upon to encounter this group that I'd featured in the work, here's from Open Minds, The Wall. He's a poor boy living in Colton. He's got dreams of his own. He's a good boy and his mother loves him. He'll be a good man when he's grown. And all the love in his mother's heart can't change the world, but she'll do her part. He swings a hammer to the call for another chip of the wall. He's a rich boy living in a mansion, born with a silver spoon. He's a good boy, and his nanny loves it, she'll make a good man of him soon. And all the love in his nanny's eyes can't change the world, no matter how she tries. He swings a hammer to the call for another chip of the wall. Another chip of the wall fell down, a piece of freedom laying on the ground. He swings a hammer to the call for another chip of the wall. She's a girl living on the other side, listening to the sounds. She sees a hole and she looks right through to the world and she sighs. And all the hope in this child's heart can't change the world, but she do her part. Swings a hammer to the call for another chip of the wall. He's a young boy living in the new world, living safe and sound. He hears the tale that his father tells of all he helped knock down. And all the love in his father's heart didn't change the world, but he did his part. He swung the hammer to the call for another chip of the wall. Another chip of the wall fell down, a piece of freedom laying on the ground. He swings the hammer to the call for another chip of the wall. He swings a hammer to the call for another chip of the wall. He swings a hammer to the call for another chip of the wall. I think I've spoken about how idealistic I was in the 1990s, and music like this. I also cited the Indigo Girls' Hammer and a Nail in this work. A destination, my community, and a street person, my responsibility. And if I have a care in the world, I have a gift to bring. The idealism, it burns now. The notion boiled down to tension between two equally valid truisms. One does not cross a chasm in a series of small steps. Developmental projects should be deployed at scale and engage in a workforce at every level so as to do the most good. And the following...
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Thank you, Angie Sangster, foundational voice in these projects. The single-step philosophy would engage the workforce directly at the grassroots level with an eye towards community development, identifying needs and seeking to fulfill them. Since there were multiple examples of large infrastructural and commercial partnerships in developing nations diverting resources away from stated goals through this fascinating human technology called corruption, it was heartening to see this other developmental philosophy gaining some momentum and examples of it underpinning growth in underserved areas in developed nations as well, which I'm certain is fascinating to people tuning in to hear about my music collection, but this was a means of discussing the social justice aspects of Open Mind, the idea that social change is incremental, that hearts are changed by participating in goodness. Look at Minnesota, look at New Jersey, everywhere that cruel and unusual would prefer we not look. Ordinary people are standing up for their neighbors and trying to do something. It's, wow, would it be so much easier not to? And you gotta respect the deep layers of inertia people are trudging through to address this injustice. Carpet bombing propaganda campaigns insisting it's all fake, it's all useless, destruction is inevitable. Well, ordinary people have spoken up at meetings. They've made themselves heard. News outlets can paint the rosiest picture of day-to-day life in America, but we know how much we're paying for gas and groceries. All of Hungary turned out to turn the tide against fascism. All of Albania, it looked like, turned out against Trump family corruption. And all that last-minute red map redistricting we've been watching heading into the midterms only accounts for recent voting activities, so districts gerrymandered to be safe for any given party might not reflect actual voter sentiment this fall. I guess I'm holding on to what hope I can up here in my attic. The Wall was powerful imagery for the early 90s because we had just witnessed the demolition of the Berlin Wall, a concrete symbol of autocratic injustice. Other social justice songs they released included Kent State and Kennedy. I actually toured Dealey Plaza in a recent trip to Dallas. There's a plaque fixed memorial that reads, "We in this country, in this generation, are, by destiny rather than choice, the watchmen on the walls of world freedom. We ask, therefore, that we may be worthy of our power and responsibility, that we may exercise our strength with wisdom and restraint, and that we may achieve in our time and for all time the ancient vision of peace on earth, goodwill toward men, men. That must always be our goal, and the righteousness of our cause must always underlie our strength. For, as was written long ago, except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. John Fitzgerald Kennedy. As an excerpt from the speech President Kennedy was to deliver at Dallas Trade Mart on November 22nd, 1963. The Kent State shooting happened when I was 2 months old, May of 1970, and the assassination referenced was somewhat earlier. The Ohio National Guard's armed response to a student protest at Kent State killed 4 and wounded 9 students in, at the time, utterly unimaginable violence, shocking the conscience of the nation and souring public sentiment against expanding the war in Vietnam, though not immediately. Polls at the time indicated 6 in 10 respondents blamed the students, so that was public sentiment, likely influenced by contempt for counterculture and civil rights agitation. A similar police-involved shooting in Jackson, Mississippi at a historically black university 10 days later that killed 2, left 12 wounded, garnered less national attention. Massive protests and walkouts followed. Attempts at deflection fell flat. U.S. troops were largely withdrawn from the region by 1972, and the war officially declared over in 1975. All this per Wikipedia. I do have the hardest time focusing on their music, though it's absolutely fine for the era, calling out apathy and indifference and what are we to do, and some promotion involvement for things I know how to do, cultivating sentiment in Nina's Circle, and getting motivated in songs like Frustration and Strange Places, which aren't specifically political, but want to inspire change, social and otherwise. If I go to Dealey Plaza, and we watch as the world passes by, winds of change blow all around us, and I can remember, it seemed like yesterday, there was Kent State and Kennedy, Kent State and Kennedy. I can remember, with tears in my eyes, thinking all the love in the world died. Moving into more personal, more relationship-focused fare, the duo explore bittersweet reflection songs like King of Vague, the ex that would never worked out, dealing with leftover emotions all the same. Oh, how could you wish for something you never really wanted? And all the hurt that comes through in Mississippi River. There's a gold ring in the Mississippi River. It tumbles with the stones on the silt beneath. The current rushing southward to the delta takes these broken dreams to New Orleans. Once I found solace in the South Dakota Badlands, where the Black Hills welcome me with open arms, and the spirits in the night that cried a warning to guide me to the place I find no harm. There's a gold ring in the Mississippi River. It's settled in the delta warm and last. And as I stand upon this bridge from which I threw it, I wonder if my heart was also cast. There's a broken dream in the Mississippi River. There's a broken dream in the Mississippi River. There's a broken dream in the Mississippi River. There's a gold ring in the Mississippi River. Their ballads are heartbreaking, and they infuse them with emotion. I'd say all the loves in this set. Wishful Thinking, Lion's Den, oh yeah, Loss that comes through and touch the water. Wasn't my insignificance that led you to believe that I wouldn't notice the change. Pardon me if I found the truth. I didn't mean to stumble over all the subtleties you'd arrange. I wanna go down and touch the water. I wanna go down and touch the water. I wanna go down and touch the water. I wanna be free again. Was it all play the game for you? Hide the heart and see who finds you. How could it be the loser wins the game? Telephones and crumpled papers, all the mysteries that you planted grew out of control in your garden of lies. I wanna go down and touch the water. I wanna go down and touch the water. I wanna go down and touch the water. I wanna be free again. Maybe I should think of myself as a lucky one. Maybe I should count my blessings while the counting's good. All the pristine thoughts once harbored are polluted with the memory of the toxic things that you once said. I turn away from the barrage of idle pleas of insanity. I can't eat this poison you once fed. To me, I want to go down and touch the water. I want to go down and touch the water. I want to go down and touch the water. I want to be free again. Hey, hey, hey. I noticed putting this together, the imagery of toxic, gaslighty relationship extends from environmental poisons they might have explored in that first set of songs. The lies and infidelity part of a polluted situation she needs to purge, expunge, cleansing her heart in the process, alongside images of rivers, harbors, multiple references of rain throughout their oeuvre, and certainly heartfelt explorations of heartbreak, loss. I mentioned the third focus of songs in my collection, which also happen to be the most fun. While they can clearly get pretty serious in their set list, Open Mind had a lot of playful humor in their performance, shining through an ex showing up in Fed Up, where she wasted enough time on a bad relationship. Oh, maybe that last one there cleared the bad feelings. House clean my headaches, baby, put the trash out, and you stuck around for all my good times, baby. I'm calling you my first mistake. I wash my hands of you, I bleed my anger to the water, search my soul clean and then I stop. I know I don't want your loving arms now, honey, I'm just fed up. My heart is running down the back roads, baby. Away from you is all I want. Don't bother chasing me, I don't mean maybe. Try it again, I'd rather not. I wash my hands of you, I bleed my anger to the water, search my soul clean and then I stop. No, I don't want your loving arms around me, I'm just fed up. I've had enough. I'm just fed up. And, then there's, I just want you to want me. Watch too much music and I sing along to all the songs we once called ours. And I wait for you to change your mind, or baby you can knock on my door. You bring the wine, I'll bring the flowers. I've been spending restless, dreamless nights, screaming in my pillow over you. Can you find it in your heart to take me back? Baby, please come back. I won't be a bother to you. I just need a little TLC. You need a sandwich? That's a BLT. What's a TLC? Tender, loving care. Seeing who you go out with, I take the sandwich. I just want you to want me. They also had Insomnia. Oh, this one was fun. Blue Box, their tribute to recycled feelings. Would it make you feel better if I said I loved you? Would it make you feel better if I said I cared? Would the rain stop falling if I held the sun up? Would you make you feel anything if I were there? Would your hand still touch me in the middle of the night? Would you call my name out? But would you get it right? Don't call me Megan. Well, the days of one love have passed us all. Recycled feelings fill the blue box on the lawn. We go from one love to another in a flash. And if your heart gets broken, it's in the trash. 'Cause they're not built to last. The performance outlines her irritation with being called Megan, then Judy, and then from their live performance, don't call me Dave, building to don't call me ever. Very fun. Other entries in this vein, titles Aphrodisiac and Undone, which is downright scandalous in an I'll have what she's having kind of performance. A slow hand is all I need, and you can do the deed. Oh, oh, oh. You can make me come undone. Oh, oh, oh. You can make me feel like I am someone. Oh, oh, oh. Hold on through the night till the morning comes. Oh, oh. You make love and fun. Oh. Absolutely delightful kind of energy. Other songs are a little more conventional relationship fodder. All You Need, One More Night, and others, but it was cool that they trust their audience with a little humor, and from the audience perspective, the payoff was fantastic. So, I've been going on and on about a musical group from 30 years ago, cassettes I brought in, you can't find them on Apple Music, Discogs. I did a Google search that said, I mentioned trying to reach out to Chanel Chamberlain. She's, as I mentioned in the other episode, an acclaimed jazz artist, but very different style of music now. Her jazz work is not in my collection. However, you can absolutely find their work on YouTube. Link to a playlist of their music, which is fantastic. Songs from LP release Over Oceans I've never even heard before. So fun to encounter here. You can also find some of their music at Museum of Canadian Music, which archived their Stones We Carry LP. That link in my show notes as well. So, yeah, maybe it's not easy to find their music available commercially, but it is so cool to be able to find it at all. Ave, Chantal, and Cynthia, you absolutely make lovin' fun. Finally, for this segment, I was working on my first journalism post and my alma mater was named North Dakota Governor's Choir of 1995. I think it was Ed Schaefer was the governor at the time. I received a cassette of choral music from the Oak Grove Lutheran High School 1994 choir, which was still at the time under the direction of Arvid Berg. I'd actually been in choir briefly. I'd been in my church choir at Hope Lutheran in Fargo, and then joining the handbell choir there, dropping choir at school because I didn't have the vocal control or interest through that time, but could absolutely manage handbell, and they had me play the bass bells that were several pounds each. Different other story, never mind. Actually, I was in choir at Devil's Lake and played handbells while I attended Vincent United Methodist Church in Minot. Before, there's a category between lapsing and coming to my senses that I fit into better, but frankly, I could not believe a pastor. Again, that's another story, never mind. Arizona pastor called for the death of President Obama from the pulpit. Why do I keep on with this? Anyway, open treason from the pulpit, a mainline denomination, and zero consequences whatsoever. By the end of that year, I wasn't attending anymore, and no one was happy with me about that. And a couple of years later, I met Ralph, and they really didn't like that, but oh well. So the recording I have, 1994 Oak Grove Lutheran High School Choir in Sacred Concert, was digitized into my iTunes music collection with all the others in 2007, and along with, it turns out, Open Mind, that was one of the ones I was certain I was not going to be able to replace through Apple Music if those tracks remained unplayable through my Apple Music app when I was having issues a few months back that I mentioned last time. Fortunately, those issues resolved. I have access to the 20 tracks sent to me as part of that choir being so recognized. They're quite good. Mr. Berg always ran a tight ship, and his constant goal was perfection, so the standards were high, and he wove those voices together to find it. I'm going to sing with the voice of singing. My heart is longing to praise my Savior. Ilas dich nicht, adoremus te Christe, and come let us rejoice, and come all musicians come. Standout performances in this compilation. The students were an excellent voice, and what a great honor to be so recognized. Since I'd graduated in 1988, no one I'd ever sung with was still part of that group when this recording was made, but the high standard we were held to was clearly still in place. Not that this music isn't such heavy rotation, but I did at one time have some connection to it. My heart is longing to praise my Savior and glorify His name in song and prayer. For He has shown me His wondrous favor and offered me all heaven with Him to share. Breakouts. I had a chance to chat a bit with a good friend and friend of the pod, Drew Brady, DJ and ambient musician who releases music under several band identities. Chatted with him back in episode 5, sort of title track, Listen With the DJ Spinnin'. This time I'm talking to him about 5 tracks in my collection, released as Orsica, that extended play release titled Moon Age. Drew, welcome back. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Drew Brady. I've been making music under probably too many music project names, but this one called Orsica kind of came out of nowhere, as per usual. But I've been making music since 2005, I want to say. So pretty much most of my life now.
I want to welcome you to VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack, Drew.
Thank you for having me again on here. It's always nice to be featured on any press is good press, as they say. So.
Oh, I've wanted to for a while. And also, this was Moon Age by Orsica as a 5-track extended play. It's available on Bandcamp, and you describe it as down-tempo, sort of electronica, but also some... Well, you know what? You make it. Why don't we have you describe it?
It was sort of my take on, I guess, aquatic-sounding house music.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I can hear that in that.
And it was mostly inspired by like space age aesthetic and design and that whole space race era in the 70s and the 80s, and everything was just very bouncy, back and forth between Americans, the Russians, everybody else was trying to get up into space, and it was, I guess, my kind of way of soundtracking that, I suppose.
That's so interesting that this came out in 2023, so Moon Age, and I couldn't help but find kind of a thematic flow through Moon Age, Brother Saturn, celestial experience like that, and then as you're tying it to sort of a space race, kind of the Cold War era. I pulled up a few of the tracks here, and I just wanted to talk about my reactions to it. Maybe you can elucidate a little bit. Turnpike is the opening track. First, Turnpike. I've heard radiant chaos and involved from the opening passages. I was things that sounded like cars whizzing by and glass clinking against itself, and then underlying percussion, sort of musical strands, all kind of doing their own thing. 130, like the 130 mark, these various threads all seem to weave together. But I don't know, maybe my brain is just resolving it, but it's just kind of like, what happens with the layers of these in this one?
Everything that I've ever done has been digitally processed, like with a MIDI production, which basically means creating your synthesizer sounds from scratch in a computer. Mm-hmm. So you basically create your own sustain, filter, envelope, and you really get to kind of create everything from the ground up. And I've always liked that about MIDI production, and you get to really put your own twist on how a keyboard can sound. And a lot of the time I like to make it not sound like itself anymore. And when I first started making music, my goal is to make instruments kind of not sound like themselves anymore. I always like to, I guess, give people an adventure for their ears.
Yeah, I think that you take us on one in this. It kind of sounded like chaos that resolves into into a musicality that maybe it was unexpected, but or maybe it was discovered.
That project was definitely unexpected and not something I really fully thought out. To be perfectly honest, it was really just sort of, let me try this and see what happens kind of thing. And I haven't had a whole lot of time to kind of go back to that because Brother Saturn has kind of taken over my creative life since then. And I am wanting to go back to that kind of sound. So.
Well, a little while ago, you did a remastery of Brother Saturn tracks, and then I think that you also have a tour coming up. I definitely want to talk to you about that. Just stay on Orska for a moment.
Sure.
The second track was Stargate, and you had talked about it was sort of like a space age atmosphere, maybe. This one felt cold, arid, distant, but then around the 050 mark, you add some electronica that really turns it into science fiction. I was wondering about the thematic connections that you were making. Where do you feel you're taking us with Stargate?
Well, a lot of my musical influences are very sci-fi inspired, and I haven't really dived into that fully because I'm not like a huge Star Wars fan or Star Trek fan, but like the aesthetic of everything, like from those films and those TV episodes, like just the design aspect and everything really influences a lot of my music. I don't know if that makes any sense at all whatsoever, but.
Oh, apart from bringing a theremin in, I feel like, and you were mentioning like making, tracks sound, like instruments sound a little like stretching what their capabilities and the effects. How were you, I think that you talked about a keyboard, but you usually work in guitar. What kind of loops were involved with Orsica?
It was all in completely in the box, basically all computerized and MIDI processed and digitally created from the ground up inside, laptop and whatnot. So that's originally how I used to start creating my music in the first place. The guitar stuff didn't come until much later, actually.
Oh, okay. Felt like that was a sound that you had established when I've heard your guitar loops. They're just, they're so incredible that I felt like that had been a long time voice of yours.
It has been, but I was originally classically trained on piano for 16 years growing up, and I did recitals, and a lot of it was done from muscle memory and things like that. I eventually taught myself guitar in high school, so it's mostly been like a secondary instrument, but it's always been part of my, tool set, so to speak.
Oh no, that makes sense. Oh, and yeah, you're clearly bringing a depth of musical knowledge. What you're bringing to these songs, because I was going to mention Hyperspeed, easily one of my favorite pieces by you that I've heard.
Thank you.
I love the club energy you find.
Going back to that club theme is something that I've been wanting to do. I've always done, quiet hip hop type material and things like that. And I've always wanted to make a full on dance album, and I haven't yet. So that's
This
going to
one
be
is
on the horizon. So
such a good basis for it. I mean, like I've said before, this should be 9 minutes long in standard club fare every night. It's so good. I mean, I just hear it. And then the track 4, Body Move, I had beat, sort of a chant core behind there, kind of a swaying kinetic, builds through it, like with intensity and urgency through it, just unrelenting. About the 3-minute mark, at which point you tap the brakes, you bring it back down, and I was just, how do you decide what layers you're going to explore in crafting these worlds?
Honestly, it just sort of happens at random. All of my music has always been improvisation based, and I don't usually have a roadmap before I make any of my music, and so I build these worlds as I'm creating the sounds at the same time, if that makes sense.
It does, and I think that the discovery, like you were saying, the exploration and the discovery really kind of aids in when you do discover these resonances that everything feels like they lead to. It's so cool that you're able to at that point have a track that you're able to share to put out in the world like that, because I think it's just such a neat approach to music, and we kind of shares a little bit of yourself with us.
And a lot of my effects are built from scratch in Ableton, and so it has a lot of presets and everything. I'll choose a basic preset and then kind of twist it to however I want it to sound, and that's kind of what gives it its unique, I guess, in this case, Orsica sound. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was talking about Turnpike, I would hear cars whizzing by, and it sounded like, and that might have just been my interpretation because the song is called Turnpike. But I mean, it's a
and
sound
that's
that
actually a reversed sample that I kind of put together just on a whim.
Oh, if you can see the smile on my face, that is so cool.
And so I'm glad you picked up on that, because that's sort of where the track title came from. Is I wanted it to sound like a racetrack, basically.
Wow, no, that is great, because the whole thing builds then to ancestors. And this song, it was the first one in the track, because of course my dumb catalog does everything alphabetically, and then I hear this one first, and it's the most complex of the pieces, I think, and when you listen to Orsica in the right order, I think that it's such a great it is such a great closer to, because it feels like the whole thing builds to it. You get a kind of an ambient jungle. I mean, you're hearing maybe some bugs, maybe some birds above almost choral chanting, and then it's sound like this, but it's very sunny, this world, if that makes sense. It's very hopeful. I mean, I really enjoy this track, and then the resolution to a more conventional musicality halfway through is kind of deceptive, because then when that retreats, you still have this universe that you create in the first part. So I wanted you to talk to us a little bit about that, because that was just an exciting. I really enjoyed that piece. So.
With a lot of my music pieces, there is, I guess, sort of an organized framing around it, because there's always the intro piece, which is probably the most important part of every song that I've ever put together, is because I want people to remember that about that particular song. And in the middle of all of my music, I guess, has always been a habit of breaking down the percussive elements and bringing the percussive elements to like a zero, I guess, and making sure everybody gets to hear all the various layers at the middle, and then kind of bringing the bounciness of it back up, and it sort of leaves people with a cliffhanger, sort of.
The word that I think I was looking for was organic, and it was just seemed like how it progressed through into the song, and it just became more and more complex. And it felt like if Ancestors as a title was also a viewer who was watching what was happening. And I felt like that was such an interesting, it was just an interesting piece, and I really enjoyed it. So,
but yeah, a lot of I'm actually grateful you picked up on that, because I'm really proud of the fact that I'm able to give that experience to people, because one of my favorite things in my creative process is to allow all the layers to be heard in the middle of my pieces of music, so people can really hear what makes the song itself, I guess, is a good way to put it. So.
And people will be able to experience this firsthand, because you have some live shows coming up. I really wanted to make sure that I highlighted that. Talk to me about the live show coming up.
This is kind of like a mini Denver, Colorado tour. I have my very first headline show as Brother Saturn, July 5th, at a queer horror themed bar in Denver called The Crypt, which it's everything I love about anything horror, basically, and it's got everything from like Freddy Krueger to, the typical Halloween things, and I guess Scream as well comes to mind, but it's got all the typical accoutrements you would expect at like a horror-themed punk and metal bar. And the reason I chose that place is because a lot of my music is very much like slow-motion heavy metal and punk music. Mm-hmm. In a way is how I like to describe my music, actually.
I feel like that's you described yourself in the past as interested in paranormal, as sort of a historian as well, and so it's kind of interesting that you're able to draw those threads together into a live performance at a venue that it feels like is really going to be appreciated.
Yeah, and for Brother Saturn, I've been doing that project for 13 years now. Mm-hmm. And that's not a short amount of time either.
No, it is not. That's a significant part of your life. I think about a third of your life has been spent with Brother Saturn exploring that world. So.
I'm grateful that I finally have an opportunity to play more than just... I've had opportunities to play for more than an hour, but I have an important piece in mind for this particular show that I've been working on throughout the years. Like, I've been kind of building the layers as I go on over the years, and it will really be a chance for me to share people those layers from the beginning to current, if that makes sense. And apart from the headline show, I have a record store performance in Longmont, and then a art gallery performance in September. That'll probably be it for this year, but I'm going to be going back into hibernation and writing a whole bunch of new stuff. So.
Very, very cool. I feel like, Orsica is certainly a, while it's just part of the voice that you bring, under sort of an umbrella of Brother Saturn and under the overarching umbrella of Drew Brady, what you bring to your music is, I feel like you're able to highlight different parts of your musical expression in these different identities. So
I'm very particular in where I want my sounds to be, and all these project names really give me a way to compartmentalize all of my ideas into really specific places, and so it helps me come back to it easily over the years instead of going, oh man, like where do I go from here?
we get I think, a pretty good sense of your approach to musicality. You have done, like you've mentioned, other live shows, so people have had a chance to take this journey with you as you're telling these stories. And not that I want to spend a whole lot of time on this, but you suddenly found yourself kind of being cribbed from a little bit from big data. You found your work in an AI situation. My goodness.
Yeah, that was something I wasn't expected because I've always just considered myself rather unknown entity, bedroom producer type of guy, and I kind of put some things in a perspective that I'm definitely a lot more than that now.
Well, I suppose if stuff is out there, they'll like scrape, but it's like, my goodness. You hear about our authors who are finding that their work is used to train large language apps.
My favorite quote comes to mind. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Yeah, and I know Oscar Wilde's original, "Those who can do no better." I think.
Yeah.
And that part of it needs to be out there because it's like, oh yeah, we can make anything sound like anything. And it's like, well, no, artists should be able to control their expression in this world. And when you use that, you've got to friggin' acknowledge it. It's so annoying that they don't.
Yeah, and in the end, they can try and imitate me all they want. They'll never be as dorky and quirky as I am. Let me just throw that out there right now. So
AI could never. That's all I've got. Because everybody got to hear a little bit of Hyperspeed up there. Everybody got to hear a little bit of Ancestors, and it's like, oh yeah, no, this is ambient punk. It's all kinds of like, your approach to this is entirely original, entirely unique. And I guess that's maybe some of the stuff they're looking for so that everything doesn't sound like everything else. But my goodness, in those cases, I'll take my $1 million, please. Thank you for contributing to whatever the hell you thought this was.
I'm kind of blows my mind. I'm flattered that they wanted to shut up my music, but at the same time, I'm just like, you know what? I'm myself, and they can imitate me all they want, but they'll never be me.
And they should, and you'll take your cut, thanks. No, because I mean, goodness, if they're going to be making billions of dollars on it, which doesn't sound like they are, I honestly think this is going to implode. But
it's wild, though.
Some of that needs to come back to the artists, I think. Like I said, it's not something I want to spend a whole lot of energy on. But thank you so much, Drew. I just wanted to appreciate you and your time and being able to talk a little bit about some of the exciting stuff you got coming up, and I really wanted to for sure celebrate. Anybody who's complaining about your many different band names, it's like, okay, to reflect all the many different facets that are Drew.
That's true.
Well, you're on Instagram as MIDI Bear, I think. People can track down upcoming that way, and just wanted to thank you.
I do have an Orsica page, but on there on Instagram as well.
Okay, so
and all of my other music project names are on there as well.
And I'll be certain to list them. I just want to make sure I don't want to miss anybody or leave any out for sure. But thank you so much for your time. It was just wonderful getting to chat with you.
I appreciate you taking the time to want to put this out there for people, because I don't get the chance to do that very much, so I'm grateful that you have me on.
Drew, thanks so much. Thank you, Drew. That's Drew Brady with Orsica and Camp link in my show notes. And gotta say, truly enjoyable vibe. Glad to have these in my collection. I have lots of ways to organize breakouts in this set, which is artists with multiple tracks in my collection, but I think I want to talk about The Offspring next. Got about half a dozen of their songs in my collection from different LP releases over the years, including Self-Esteem, The Kids Aren't Alright, Gone Away, Come Out and Play, Pretty Fly for a White Guy, and All I Want, which is a damn anthem. Yeah. Day after day, your home life's a wreck. The powers that be just breathe down your neck. You get no respect, you get no relief. You gotta speak up and yell out your piece. So back off your rules, back off the job, 'cause I'm sick of not living to stay alive. Leave me alone, not asking a lot. I don't wanna be controlled. All I want, it's all I want, it's all I want, it's all I want. Yeah. Topics, themes, lyrics, and songs I've heard. Like, it's such a great vibe from this pop punk band got its start in Orange County in 1984. Thanks, Hiya. It's always struck me that this was like songs a big brother would sing, stuff he was dealing with and noticing, maybe needed to let little brothers know about. Like, yeah, sometimes people suck, like, get a job and self-esteem, and sometimes life sucks, like, and the kids aren't all right, come out and play. It's dark energy, but accurate reporting about stuff that's going on in kids' lives. And Gone Away is a young person's early exposure to death, and is exactly the right take on this. Loss, anger, disbelief, demands for answers unavailable. I really hear someone shouting at the sky on a county road. Maybe in another life I could find you there, pulled away before your time. I can't deal, it's so unfair, and it feels like heaven so far away. And it feels like the world's gone cold now that you've gone away. Tense. Yeah, you got fun ones. I mentioned get a job, and they're pretty fly for a white guy. It was silly enough for Weird Al to reimagine. It's pretty fly for a rabbi. I enjoy both of those. They're cool with calling out bad behavior, dumb behavior, effed up behavior. And I like the level they find with these pieces. I reach to the sky and call out your name. And if I could trade, I would. And it feels like heaven so far away. And it stings now. The world is so cold now that you've gone away. Probably I need more Offspring in my collection. Probably I'll track more down. Outkast is so very barely in this category. I have their Phobia from the Higher Learning soundtrack, which fit the vibe for that film really well. My copy includes a spoken word entry by Big Group, which talks about a couple different unnerving scenarios and closes out with, many of us mistake phobia for true fear. Whereas fear is a gift from God to be used for self-preservation, phobias are obstacles strategically placed by society, by opposers of positive existence, through stereotyping, innuendo, false documentation, and glorification. They'll turn your fear switch to permanent on. We can change this by changing the small truth within the lie. Death is a small price to pay for respect. Death is a small price to pay for respect. You know who it is. You know what it is. Peace out. They're primarily in my collection for Hiya, which talks about the tension through that transition point between moved in together and established relationship. The anxiety about whether a couple is happy with each other or just staying together because finding a new place, moving all the furniture out, be a hassle. The thoughts, if nothing lasts forever, then what makes love the exception? Pretty sure lots of people heard that the way you hear a cast iron pan upside their head. But here's the thing. Nothing lasts forever, but lots of things change, develop, and accommodate new environment, information, understanding over time. And lots of times, as people shift and change and grow, they're not the same people who committed to each other 20 years ago. The relationship grows and develops to accommodate the new people that they're becoming, or they do not recognize each other anymore, no longer meet each other's needs where they are, and breakup makes sense. They can then find life partners more suited to their needs. Of course, this song is talking to people in their 20s who, with a little time together to see how it's working out, can better read incompatibilities, or certainly better than when they first decided to move in together. I think Having to be out of town for work half the week for the first couple of months when Elf first moved in with me extended the long-distance energy we started our relationship with and let us get used to living together gradually. Once we were sharing our space full-time, we had a much higher comfort level, better understanding of each other. As for Hiya, it's primarily a high-fun bop, though the video highlights elements the song does not, which are kids dancing around to the video, presumably someone, definitely a consideration for young couples building lives together, though it's not like joint custody is necessarily worse than a home environment of unhappy toxicity. Oh, you don't want to hear me, you just want to dance. My baby don't mess around because she loves me so, and this I know for sure. But does she really wanna but content to see me walking out that door? Don't try to fight the feeling, 'cause the thought alone is killing me right now. Thank God for Mom and Dad for sticking together, 'cause we don't know how. Hey, 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 hey. Finally, for this segment, I have only 2 songs in my collection by OK Go. One is the first one I'd heard from them, Get Over It, which I feel like the music video, it looks like it's set in a 1959 Elks Lodge, complete with bingo setup and ping pong table, was my first experience with them. The song seems to dig right into a middle-aged nightmare insurance salesman in light blue polyester. Got a job, got a life, got a 4-door, and a faithless wife. Got those nice copper pipes, got an ex, got a room for the night. Aren't you such a catch? What a prize. Got a body like a battle axe, love that perfect frown. Honest eyes, we gotta buy you a Cadillac. Hey! Get over it. Hey! Get over it. Hey! Get over it. Get over it. Get over it. That was a 2002 release. The other one I got in here was from 2005, A Million Ways, which is another music video of some interest in that it had seriously complicated choreography, but they ran it with a single stationary camera in a single take. I should wish I could, maybe if you were, I would list standard issue regrets. One last 80 proof sergeant in the corner booth, baby, it's as good as it gets. Oh, such grace, oh, such beauty, so precious, suspicious, and charming and vicious, oh darling, you're a million ways, oh darling, you're a million ways, oh darling. There are a million ways to be cruel. 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Oh, darling, there are a million ways to be cruel. Which, while that's going on, they're doing spin, turn, catch, Busby Berkeley level reveals, challenging each other to duels, trust falls, lifts, storytelling, along with just visualizing the song, which, yes, did run the risk of failing from the same perspective of Simon Garfunkel's 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, which, to be fair, suggested there must be 50 ways to leave your lover. The woman he's talking to didn't commit to listing all of them, and indeed you only ever need to select one is going to be sufficient. But for a song called 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, they explored new ways for each chorus that have gotten closer. 12 ways, and just the 4 or so. Never mind, the million ways to be cruel were by comparison left entirely unexplored. But here's the thing. The attitude of the song shines through. You can kind of get a sense of the woman they're talking to. They need to detail it. Anyway, the song would end up being about 2 weeks long. As for the video, thankfully well abridged, 3.5 minute video. It's incredible. They did a great job. They certainly look like they're enjoying themselves, and that's another draw for this group. They're so inventive with their songs, their performances, and their videos. The breakup performance that cemented their focus as visual performers was a treadmill video, also from 2005. Here it goes again. The band set up 8 treadmills running in alternate directions, and choreographed a performance that employed a lot of dance, attitude, and balance you might never consider or suspect possible if you've only ever had one treadmill to mess around with. The potential for using the supports of vertical space, playing with extended treads and multiple treadmills make possible, but you'll notice I'm talking about a third OK Go song, when I only have 2 in my collection. In fact, the visual focus of this band put most of their presence in my collection, in my media collection. All reality, at this point, if I want to take in an OK Go performance, I'm much more interested in their visuals. They're top-notch musicians. Indeed, their songs are quite good, lyrically, interesting, complicated, but they've so perfected their skills at the medium, it's a lot more fun to watch an OK Go song than just listen to it. They got performances that involve driving a car through a junkyard set up to accompany the song that they're playing. They've got visuals that coordinate 100 color laser printers and harnesses to build almost live animation experience. They had one with a dozen doggos. They had one with persistence lens color blocking. They shot it perfectly timed camera blocked video in zero gravity. They could only have had one take with because the end of the video is covered in colorful paint, so exactly 1 million things had to work perfectly in order for it to happen. They've long been associated with complicated Rube Goldberg visuals, celebrated with a guest appearance in April of 2010 on the Colbert Report, performing the song for that music video, This Too Shall Pass. The opening credits of the Colbert production were reimagined as the Rube Goldberg presentation, reprised at the top of their interview with Colbert crossing the studio on a treadmill chariot, and all archived in my media collection to disc 1816. So, for sure, while OK Go's presence in my music collection is slight, it's more than made up for in my media collection, which is honestly the better home for them. Great work, guys. Sparks. Get them out of the way fast, since, wow, the news has been problematic. But in Sparks, artists with 1 song in my collection. Technically, I added Lita Ford's duet with Ozzy Osbourne to include a brief comment post the announcement of his passing, and can't remember when I added Crazy Train. I remember enjoying the Osbournes when they were a goofy reality show on MTV. Wow, the problems when people get used to being on camera, the stuff they'll do and say to stay there. But we're going off the rails on a crazy train. It was purchased posthumously. Plus, Jack and Sharon trying to melt an ice cap mounting some bat-chomping AI hologram tour when YouTube clips exist is just a friggin' madhouse. So, families shouldn't. You have to believe we are magic. Nothing can stand in our way. You have to believe we are magic. Don't let your arm ever stray. And if all your hopes survive, destiny will arrive. I'll bring all your dreams alive for you. I'll bring all your dreams alive for you. Olivia Newton John. I had to add magic in here. I actually have Xanadu in my classic collection, discs 1497, 1498. I generally loved her performances throughout Greece. I talked about Lo Feng's version of The One That I Want in episode 15. Everybody knows. I should probably also have Hopelessly Devoted because I was a huge fan of Pushing Daisies, the pilot episode of which turned up in my classic collection on disc 292. Kristen Chenoweth's edition of Hopelessly Devoted until she also became so problematic. Seriously, did these people not Jerry Seinfeld, Jimmy Fallon, Gwyneth Paltrow, when the Israeli Ministry of, oh hey, look over there, calls up, asks you to promote rooms at the hotel expensive distraction, you are allowed to decline, using your Bugs Bunniest of no memes. Clearly it took a wrong turn at the Golan Heights. Kristen can't seem to get on the right side of any public sentiment these days, and anyone wondering how something called the Queen of Versailles would be doing just now should crack a book. But Olivia Newton John, I'm certain I have her music video for Let's Get Physical in here somewhere. I'm recalling a pop-up video trivia version I might have archived as well. For her presence in my music collection, however, magic is it. I've got Olive in here singing her 2000 trance cover of 10cc's 1975 release, I'm Not in Love. I mentioned the Next Best Thing soundtrack in my Madonna comments. I'm loving what I'm hearing of Confessions too, by the way. Anyway, next big thing. This Olive track was on it. I kind of prefer Olive's take on the song. 10cc's knew why they'd written it and what they were saying, but the dry delivery and muttery passage seemed to detract from what was otherwise an arch and clever confessional piece. whereas Olive's cover kept the energy building throughout, and by the end, well, yes. I'm not in love, so don't forget it. It's just a silly phase I'm going through. And just because I call you up, don't get me wrong and think you got me. I'm not in love, no. I'd like to see you, but then again, it doesn't mean you mean that much to me. So if I call you, don't make a fuss. Don't tell your friends about the two of us. I'm not in love, no. I keep your picture up on the wall. It hides a nasty stain that's lying there. So don't you ask me to give it back. I know you know it doesn't mean that much to me. I'm not in love, no. Such a niche entry in this set. I had occasion to highlight Drifted to Tape by Ozone in episode 5, Big Sister Podcast, VideoFuzzy, 9 years ago, July of 2017. I'd encountered an ABC News feature from 2007 called ICOT, highlighting viral video phenomena. I'd included a scrap of the Numa Numa song associated with Gary Brolsman, New Jersey, a so-called Numa Numa guy. There's the Numa Numa, Numa Numa, Numa Numa Numa, she will si dragas in the te, dancing to Ozone's 2003 release, Dragas de Te, at the exact moment I discovered that including commercial tracks in my podcast was going to get my episode yanked by Spotify. So, very quick re-edit of episode 5. I just started this thing. I didn't want any episodes to not be available because it's something so avoidable. And yes, since then I've included largely a cappella karaoke flavored covers of commercial tracks in here, which could run afoul. But my main goal is when I'm talking about a song, we should all know what version I'm talking about. People name wildly variant songs but the same name. My goal is clarity. Also, the vast majority of songs I talk about can be accessed commercially. So if I talk about something people want to track down themselves, maybe support, I so encourage that. As for Ozone, its involvement in a viral video suggests people may have already encountered it, but my he, my ha, my ha, my ha, my he, my ha, my ha, my ha. Allo, salut, soutien, haidu. Si te rogo Maria, mea festa fericire. Allo, sunt eu, Picasso, ce-am not beep. Sunt unic, stiendo-te menic. Oh, hey, and for my international music entry last summer, we can now add Romanian. Nice. Speaking of disambiguation, I have a song called The World Is Not Enough by Oleg Prodeus in this set. It is not the James Bond theme, nor is it a version of it. I discovered it in Apple Music when I was adding The World Is Not Enough by Garbage, and it would appear a cocktail lounge cover of that one by something called Mr. Bond. Oleg Prodeus is something like I called Olive trance. Oleg Prodeus is trance. Just vibe electronica groove. The world is not enough. It's not enough for us. I think we're going crazy. I think we're going crazy now. Track that down as well. I could dance to this for hours. Orquestra de Solo, I had to bring it again. I love this song, David Lynch's Mulholland Drive. Rebecca Del Rio presented the visuals on stage for Cafe Silencio. There is music, there is no band. The illusion of performance is shattered by the artist herself in a powerful scene, not least for the song itself being performed in heartbreaking Spanish. Yo estaba bien por un tiempo oyendo sombra. Luego anoche vi un mítico y acerca de tu voz. Te hablé muy bien y tú sin saber que está llorando por tu amor, llorando por tu amor. Luego de tu adiós sentí todo, míralo, solo llorando, llorando. Llorando, llorando, no es fácil de entender que al verte otra vez yo estoy llorando. I think I had two halves of this song in my collection from two different sources, which I stitched together best I could. It sounded fine. I'm showing I still have that version in my music library, actually, but when I tracked down this gorgeous 2003 cover of Rebecca Del Rio's 2001 translation of the Roy Orbison 1962 classic, which appeared in the Money Money soundtrack, was an excellent replacement, despite it having fallen off my radar and lolled among my lost tracks. The lost tracks. Until I replaced it in Apple Music back in March. Last month, Blue Monday by Orgy gained the distinction of having been a question on Jeopardy. Almost. I thought it was kind of neat, though it confused me, because the question referred to the 1983 original by New Order, rather than the cover I had in my music collection. Oh, Orgy, your 1998 cover is fantastic, but I needed to credit the original, since I'm certain I heard it back in the way back when. Just forgot Orgy's 1998 release on their LP Candy Ass was a cover. Those who came before me lived through the vocations from the past until completion. They'll turn away no more. And still I find it so hard to say what I need to say, but I'm quite sure that you'll tell me just how I should feel today. Our last night recorded one of the dozen or so renditions of Billie Eilish's No Time to Die in my music collection, and while it has some solid originality in its presentation, some 80s metal riffs, it's the Bond theme Lizzie Hale would record, but it's probably the weakest rendition of this song that I own, which the singer absolutely has the anger, but not the reflection that gives depth to the meaning. Her screams are outrage. I so get it. She found what was upsetting and interpreted that, but she is a bazooka in the face. The raw scream at, we were a pair. We were a pair. I saw you there. I saw you there. Too much to bear. You are my life, but life is far away from fair. Why are there so many versions of this song? Along with Eilish and this one by Our Last Night, I've collected versions by Barbie Sailors and Violet Orlandi, Soulful, Helicene, Dark, HBXLII, and DJ Exquisite, Uptempo Techno, LBLVNC and Steven Geisler, Reflective, and Neverless, which is Rest Metal. A quick search suggests no one has addressed this. I hardly added all of them. This was from back when you had to pay for individual songs on iTunes. I wasn't bringing them all in. And guys, there are so many. While I'm sure they all have their finer points, I can't listen to 85 versions of No Time to Die. It's one of those, I'm not reading all of that, but I'm happy for you, or sad that happened. I'm just The ones that I brought in were of interest to me, and that's why they're here. Our Lady Peace, wipe that smile off your face. This is absolutely from Rescue Me. It is absolutely why it's in my collection. It is blue collar anger, and I guess, I don't know, it's like when I was listening to The Officer, and all I want, and I get this sneering anger. I hear why they're in my collection. I think it might not be the worst time in the world to listen to blue collar anger. Except that a lot of people who do that really focus on the wrong stuff. See if this helps. If you're experiencing blue-collar rage, it's not the mom buying oranges and soda with food assistance. It's not the existence of immigrants. It's not the homeless vet over there dealing with some stuff. Wait for it. It's the people who buy up all the housing that's rented out more and more every year. It's people whose greed results in the food insecurity in the first place. The ones complaining not about filthy water and air, but rather the people who are. The people who siphon resources from the public and hoard them. Oh, apropos of nothing, I see we have our first trillionaire. Charming. A just and sustainable government and economy would address the problems we're facing rather than actively making our lives more difficult. They work very hard to keep us from noticing this, but at some point it's really impossible to miss how much more difficult things are than they have to be. And for Christ's sakes, it's not because someone's trying to mow someone's lawn, clean someone's house, or out there picking vegetables. It's just the two of us, a silver cross, and some strength they won't believe. See, I'm not your friend, and I won't pretend that I've come here for peace. Well, I'm not afraid. I'm gonna make you pay. I'm gonna wipe that smile off your face. This is war now, so wipe that smile off your face. Gotta wipe that smile, wipe that smile, wipe that smile off your face. Goals. In the meantime, time to get this one on the feed here. Thanks again to my artist friend in Ohio, Daryl James of Safety Cub. You can check out his work on Instagram. Speaking of artists, absolutely my friend, Denver artist Drew Brady. Thank you all so much for checking in on me as I poke around in my music collection. As always, anything that might have rhymed at anyone who's singing in this or any VideoFuzzy production, let me assure you that it wasn't. Any low-bar karaoke attempts you might have encountered this tiny little indie project would only have been included as sketch reference for illustrative purposes, part of fair use reviews. Certainly weren't meant to infringe on anyone's licensing, copyright, or distribution agreements. Go forth, buy songs, support the artists you love. You get a chance, check out Big Sister Podcast, VideoFuzzy, and you get a chance at the third installment of VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack, the video. It's up on VideoFuzzy's YouTube channel. You can check that out. Those are always a hoot. Meanwhile, please add, follow, and subscribe to VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack wherever you get your podcasts. And with any questions, comments, or artist suggestions, please contact me through my show notes or email djom1970@yahoo.com. VideoFuzzy the Soundtrack, I'm Terry J. Aman. Happy listening.